Hey, Epic Team, it's me, Lindsay, here with just a quick update about our new series that we're about ready to start. Hopefully, you guys saw the email I sent about a week or two that kind of laid out like just the generic schedule of like what we're teaching each Sunday. So that way, as you guys are able to look at the schedule and when you're scheduled to teach, and then when like, hey, this is what we're doing this week, so you can at least be aware of just the overall responsibility and which chapters in the book you're doing. So we're actually kicking off our 30 days to understanding the Bible this weekend. I kind of did a quick intro of like, hey, like what's the overall story of the Bible? Why is this important? What's so great about stories? And we just I even did a little quick like Bible Jeopardy with the kiddos to kind of get like just a general idea of like what they know about the Bible. Which is very interesting, by the way. Plus, we had Morgan in there who was going to be joining our team. She's actually now not. And so I was hoping to give her like just a chance to get to know the kids and the environment and stuff like that. So, and I introduced a new book, my memory verse. And so there was just a lot of introductions last week. So this week we're going to get started off. I think Jeff said he is teaching. So just make sure you guys are aware. I'm taking this slow, you guys, just because I really want the kids to really grasp this. What I love so much about this book is, yes, it gives a general, like, hey, here's how many books there are of the Bible, the Old Testament, which they didn't know, by the way, Old Testament books, New Testament books, the type of books. But what I love is each chapter, once we get through the first three chapters that do all the backgrounds, the history of the Bible, is as we get into chapters 4 and beyond, is it gives, like, as it breaks down the part of the Bible, is it gives, like, hey, here's like the major players, here's like the major era, like creation, exile, and stuff like that. But then here's like what God is up to during this time. And I love that idea of giving a kids like an overall story of the Bible, an overall view of like, hey, like what is God actually up to? So as we're reading the story like Joseph or Moses or Jonah or any of the stories that we may come across in the future, and as the kids even think about what they've learned in kids church, for them to have an idea of like, oh man, like so that's what God was up to. Like that's kind of like what's happening, like just the overall thought and theme. And so I'm just really excited. I really want to take this slow because I really want kids to get this. I know, taking it slow will could like you have to drag it out and keep it exciting for 19 weeks. But we'll take some breaks and stuff like that in between, and we'll do some debates and we'll have our Christmas series and stuff like that. But I really want the kids to get to know this. With that being said, is if you've looked through the book already, is like each chapter there's like a self-test. At the beginning of the first three intro books, there's maps and there's like all these different charts and stuff like that. You guys, I went ahead and made copies of all that stuff for you guys so that you have those so that the kids, and I made it for the kids. So I have folders, different colors, one for each kid. They can, this week they can write their names on and decorate it. Keep them in the classroom. Don't let them take them home because they're going to need it each week because each week there's more self-tests and stuff like that for the chapters is I'm going to give them to you to use with the kids. It's a good way to test to kind of like, hey, what did they learn? So if you look up, Forever's teaching this week and you'll see there's anything from the book that like had them filling it in, I copied for you guys so you have it. And then this is like some generic like, hey, like, so even though I made, by the way, you guys, this is the arc of the, so this is where you just write out the different eras, this arc. So you can write like, so you write creation, patriarch, exile, conquest, judges, kings, shoot, no, that's silence. But all the captivity. Oh, that's captivity. So like basically, as they go through, they can write this in. I actually blew this up in really big poster size. I took it to Staples and I had them laminate it, so we can put this on the wall. So, if what I would love would be not only as we're each week for you guys to be like, okay, what was last week's? It's like, hey, like so if you're like on week 4, or like week 4 of the actual eras, you could be like, okay, what's week 1? Creation. Who's the major players? Is do a quick review at the beginning of each week. But then you can fill them in each week as you do it. And we can have like a large thing because then even in the future, once we're through this, say we're doing a series and we're talking about Job or whatever, we can do a quick like, hey guys, let's do a quick reminder of where is this happening in Bible history? What's the real story? Okay, now how does this apply to me and what's happening today? So I'm really excited for this, you guys. So I'll pass out new papers each week. The kids can continue to add to this. There is, every week. So it's like again, every week the kids will get. We'll add to the story of like, hey, this is the creation era. Adam is the person, and the storyline summary is like, so for the first one, it's like Adam is created by God, but he sins and destroys God's original plan for man. So there, the kids will get one that's completely filled out, but I'm also giving you guys a blank piece of paper. So again, each week they can add to it. I think repetition, you guys, it feels very boring, but repetition is very key, especially for kids, because it's one of those things where if you don't use it, you lose it. And so I'm trying to think of all a variety of creative ways for you guys to get the kids to repeat this. So having them write it down each week in terms of like, here's this week's storyline, reviewing it for them each week, and then obviously going through the lesson plan and stuff like that will help them figure this out. I mean, I'm the same way, by the way. Like, I've gone through this book probably twice now, and there's even some moments where it's like, oh, I'm a little stuck on this just because I've only done it twice. And so to continue to repeat it will really help them get to know this. So you guys, I'm really super excited about this. Feedback from you guys is going to be important, especially at the beginning, to realize like, hey, what's worked, what's not, what's working, what's not working. Do try to do small group times. Don't I know the high lows, buffaloes. I know the kids love that and I love that. But like when we're having 15, 20 kids, you guys, that takes up too much. Like to me, that's going to take up too much time of your morning. And so save that for small group when you can do it in smaller groups and get through it a little bit quicker and pray. I'm really trying to get you guys. I know there's going to be a few Sundays where it may just be one adult in the room. I'll try to get a second adult in the room where you guys can continue to do that. But yeah, so you guys, so you'll see I have like the first 2 or 3 weeks written out for you guys. Like, I'm not going to rewrite what's written in the chapters. Like, I'm going to assume that you guys are going to read the chapters and be able to highlight, here's the things. I mean, because it's only it's designed for 15 minutes a day anyways. So I'm assuming that you guys are going to be able to like go through this and realize like, hey, like I'm going to highlight for you, like, here's like the goal for the morning. Here's what I want you guys to hit. Here's what I think is important. But I'm going to trust that you guys are going to read through your chapters and understand it, like, and come in teaching. So I'm not going to rewrite this chapter for you. I'm going to write everything around it. So like, hey, here's an opening game you can do to help introduce the theme. Here's our memory verse, and here's a way to get the kids to memorize the memory verse. Here's like some support. Maybe like there's some supporting, like especially Bible Project videos or other videos I know, or images, or if there's like supporting materials I think will help enhance what you guys are teaching, I will include that as well. So that's what I'm going to give you guys in the curriculum, but I'm assuming you guys are reading this, and I'm not going to rewrite this for you because we're all adults and grown-ups and we're teachers here. So Sunday teachers, I know we're not all teachers in our day job, Jeremiah, but I'm going to assume that you guys are reading this and know this. So this may not be a good, like, hey, I'm just looking at this Sunday morning. You may actually need to look at this in advance. So I'm trying to get the weeks written out in advance for you guys. So I think I have the first 2 or 3. And then, so what we'll do is we'll go through the end of October, because October is a 5 Sunday month. So for even now, I want you guys to think whoever's on October 30th, be planning. I had that as our first debate Sunday, and I thought maybe it'd be fun to debate the validity of the Bible, since that's what we're talking about. So even start planning in your mind, like, hey, what's this going to look like? How do I want this to go? Do I need to do any prep? Like, do I need something from the kids like a week before? Like, hey, like, let them ask their questions that they have about the Bible. Things like that you can bring in for the debate. And we can talk about that closer to the time, but I just wanted to give you guys a heads up to start thinking like, oh yeah, like that's my Sunday, so I need to be thinking about how I want that to look. So I'm thankful for you guys. I'm excited for this. I'm excited. You guys, be praying for our kids. I'll be praying for you guys. I'm just excited to see how our kids grow just in their biblical knowledge. Yeah, yeah, I mean, I feel like that's been a word for our church this year, has been around scripture. And so I'm excited between this and then what we're doing at Midpoint, around just like giving kids like hopefully a solid foundation around like, hey, these are the books of the Bible. This is how it's structured. This is why it's important. Here's what God's up to. I think it's going to be good. Oh, you guys will get sword drills. If you guys don't know, that's where it's like you'll shout out a Bible verse, and like the kids have to look it up and like try to stand up and read. Maybe give Alora a chance to like call out some of the verses so she doesn't always win. Because the reality is I'm in there and I'm having kids look up verses, like they don't know how to do that, and that's okay. But again, it's going to be one of those things where repetition and teaching them like, hey guys, remember, this is how we look it up, and getting them the chance to do that. So I'm giving you verses each week that you can incorporate into a sword drill, just to get them all into the Bible and give them candy as prizes. But maybe like the Lauras and the Sunnies that already know the Bible, maybe give them a chance to call out the verses to give the kids that aren't as comfortable with it. Because what I'm noticing is like Laura will look up the verses as we're reading in class, and I'll be like, hey, this is it. And then she'll be like, okay, everybody, it's on this page. And I'm like, stop telling them. Like, that doesn't help. That doesn't serve your friends to know how to actually look at Bible verses. So just really trying to give our kids a really good foundation, so that way then as they go into youth group and as they grow, they know that, like, man, I can go to the Bible for this. So I'm excited and I'm so thankful for you guys. So thank you guys so much for all of this. Also, if you have not responded, I sent out an invite for a barbecue for all of the Kidventure teams. I would love for you guys to be there. I know some of you guys have responded, and that's great. But if you haven't, please respond and let me know if you guys can make it next weekend. All right. Thanks, you guys. Bye.